Welcome to the second part of Physics Chapter 4, Refraction through Plane Surfaces. In this part, we are going to study about refraction of light through a prism. What is a prism? Prism is a transparent medium bounded by 5 plane surfaces with a triangular cross section. Two opposite surfaces of prism are identical parallel triangles, while the other three surfaces are identical rectangular surfaces and are inclined to each other. So, a prism looks like this. The refracting surfaces are rectangular and the front and back surfaces are triangular. So the left side, the right side and the base, these all are rectangular surfaces which are inclined to each other, and the front and the back surfaces are triangular, and those can be of different shapes. It can be equilateral triangle, it can be isosceles triangle, it can be a right angle triangle, it can be a right isosceles triangle, it can be of any shape. Okay, so uh, depending upon the shape of that triangular face, that is the front and the back face, the prisms shows refraction of different nature. Yeah, but overall you can say prism is a transparent refracting medium bounded by 5 plane surfaces with a triangular cross section. Okay, so this is the definition of prism. Prism is a transparent refracting medium bounded by 5 plane surfaces with a triangular cross section. Okay, let's see this video.
Hello, my name is Harold York. I'm a research scientist in Pasadena, California, and I'm going to be talking about prisms in physics. This is an example of a prism being used as a spectrograph.
Now, can you see this? This ray over here is the incident ray. This incident ray is striking at a particular angle on this refracting surface of the prism. Some part of this incident ray of light is reflected in this direction, and the most part of it goes inside the prism. That is refracted part of the incident ray of light. So this is the point where the first refraction takes place. Now this refracted ray of light travels inside the prism and approaches the other other rectangular surface, that is the opposite side of the prism, and again at this surface it suffers a refraction. So when it suffers a refraction, what happens is the rays of light, which were traveling within the prism material, they when they approach this inclined side of the prism, they do not emerge out all at once. They emerge out in a specific order which is known as dispersion, the dispersion order. And that dispersion order is nothing but Vibgyor, the 7 constituent colors of light. Red color emerges out first and it is refracted the least. Violet is refracted the most and it emerges out the last. And see, this is how the rays of light are. You can say rays of light are thrown out of the prism, or you can say emerge out of the prism in the form of a dispersion. That is a spectrum of 7 colors of light.
In other words, used to separate colors. The prism is the triangular object in the middle, made out of glass. From the bottom left, you see the incident beam of light, which is white light, and towards the top, it's partially reflected. But within the prism, the white light is refracted, and then when it hits the surface to the right of the prism, it's refracted and dispersed at the same time. And the result of this is the rainbow that we see in this next picture. The angle between the anti-sun direction, which is given by the shadow of the head of the photographer at the bottom, and the rainbow is 42 degrees. And the person in red is enjoying the rainbow, whereas the person to the left in blue is looking for the pot of gold. So the next time you see a rainbow, think of prisms in physics and enjoy it like the person in red, and don't look for the pot of gold. Thank you for watching.
All right, so there was a short video explaining how a prism refracts and disperses a ray of light. Okay, let's go a little deeper into this prism and try to understand the important terms related with prism. See, one thing which we have to understand is the principal section of the prism, that is the triangle ABC, that is the front part of the prism. In this principal section, there is an angle BAC. Do you see this angle BAC? That is the vertex angle of the cross section of prism or principal section of prism, which is angle BAC, and it is known as angle of prism. So angle BAC is angle of prism, which is denoted by a letter A over here and over here. The two rectangular surfaces ABED and ACFD. Do you see ABED and ACFD? These two rectangular surfaces are the refracting surfaces. The line AD is the refracting edge. The line AD is the refracting edge. Okay, and the rectangular surfaces, surface BCFE actually, BCFE is the base of the prism, which is usually grounded or made rough. So base cannot act as a refracting surface because it is grounded or it is made rough. So all the rays of light which are to be refracted through a prism are incident on the refracting surface, that is the surface ABED or ACFD. Okay, that is the rectangular surfaces which are inclined to each other. Okay, in the ray diagram, a prism is shown only by its principal section ABC. Whenever you see a ray diagram, you will only see the refracting surface. I'm sorry, the principal section ABC, not the refracting surface. See, like this. So how do we understand this? See, OP is the incident ray. It strikes the refracting surface of the prism at point P. At point P, to understand how the refraction is happening, see, first of all, we have not drawn any reflected ray because there is no need. It will just make the whole scenario more complicated. So whenever you are explaining refraction, you are writing answers about refraction, or you are trying to understand refraction, I will recommend that do not talk about the reflected ray at the first surface or any surface, because that will only make the matter more complicated. Although there is a slight reflection happening at this surface AB when the incident ray OP strikes it, I will recommend don't talk about reflection as of now, because we are trying to understand what is refraction, and we won't bring up the topic of you can say refraction over here, reflection over here, I'm sorry. So OP, incident ray, strikes at point P. At point P, for our clear understanding, we have drawn a perpendicular or a normal which is perpendicular to the surface AB, normal at the point of incidence. Okay, PN, we can call normal PN. Okay, so this incident ray is making angle I1 with the normal, that is the angle of incidence. Now what happens? Since the ray of light is entering from rarer medium, that is air which is the rarer medium, to prism which is usually made up of glass, that is a denser medium with respect to air. So this ray of light bends towards the normal. Do you see over here? This ray of light is bending towards the normal. So we get angle of refraction R1. R1. Do you see angle of refraction? Okay. Now what is this dotted line which is going here towards L? So what is PL? PL is the original path of light. PL is what? It is the original. If you want, you can take notes. Original path of light, of incident ray, right? So PL is the original path of light. Okay, we'll talk about the original path of light a little later. Let's first follow the path of refracted ray of light. So PQ is the refracted ray of light inside the prism. Okay, and this PQ, which is refracted ray, strikes the point Q. At point Q, we are now at the junction or at the boundary separating two media. See, inside there is glass and outside again there is air. So now again the ray PQ, which is the refracted ray, will suffer refraction. Now you will say that, sir, this ray of light is coming out from here, but there are no 7 colors. Why are there no 7 colors? Very good question if you are thinking about that. Let me tell you that the experiment which we are doing over here, trying to understand how the rays of light are refracted within the prism and all. In these kind of experiments, we always consider a monochromatic ray of light. That is, a ray of light which has single color. Why do we take a ray of light having a single color? Try to understand that. Single color means single wavelength. Okay, single color means single wavelength. So this ray of light, which has a single wavelength, on incidenting it on the prism, it will not disperse. Single wavelength means no dispersion. There will be no dispersion. There will be absolutely no dispersion. No dispersion means no splitting up. No splitting of white light into its 7 constituent color. We don't want white light. We want either red light or blue light or violet light or indigo light or yellow light, any light, orange light, but no white light. Okay, because if we do with white light, then there will be 7 emergent rays, or you can say a band of spectrum, band of 7 colors, dispersed ray of light, which will make our study more complicated. So we don't want any dispersion in this case, in this experiment, to study the property of prism in detail. That's why we are using a single color or a monochromatic. Remember the word monochromatic ray of light. Okay. Okay. Let's list what is I1. I1 is I1, angle of incidence. Okay. R1, angle of refraction, at the first surface. R2, angle of refraction at second surface. Actually, this should be known as angle of incidence. Angle of incidence at second surface. Now let me show you where is R2. This is R2. So at point Q, what do? We draw a normal QN perpendicular to the side AC. And to this normal, this angle, this refracted ray makes an angle R2, which is the incident ray at the second surface. So why do we call it R2? Why not I2? Just to keep things simple and you can say easily identifiable. Otherwise, you'll be confused. And what happens when the ray of light leaves glass and comes out into the air? It gets refracted. How? Now, since the ray of light is entering from glass to air, denser medium to rarer medium, it bends away from the normal, as you can see. So I2, what is I2? I2 is sometimes also known as E, which is angle of emergence. Angle of emergence. The ray of light which is coming out of the prism after suffering refraction twice is known as emergent ray. Emergent ray. And I2 or E is the angle of emergence. So now, if you see the ray of light which is coming out of the prism, if you produce it backwards, you see this QR is produced backward with a dotted black line, and it touches this line PL at M. So what is this PL? PL is the original path of light. So what is this QL? QL is final path of light at emergence. Okay, final path of light is MR. Original path of light is PL. And between this PL and MR, there is an angle. You see this angle? This angle is known as delta. And what is delta? Delta is angle of deviation. Angle of deviation. What do you mean by angle of deviation? Angle of deviation means, as if you see the whole process without a prism, you will understand that one thing has happened uh, while while let me just show you with two lines and a triangle. Of course, one thing has happened while we are trying to do or understand refraction. One thing has happened. Whenever we put an incident light inside, or you can say on the surface of prism, you will see that the emergent ray of light comes out in this manner. In this manner. Do you see that? The emergent ray of light comes out like this. So if you don't see what is happening within the prism, okay, or if you just delete the prism out of the way, okay, just let's delete the prism. Let's just delete the prism. Okay, so what is happening on producing these two rays of light further and backwards? What is happening? The ray of light is deviating. Deviating means bending. So refraction तो हो रहा है. Overall एक refraction बहुत जबरदस्त हो रहा है यहाँ पे. ठीक है? But this refraction can be understood with the help of this angle. And this angle is between the original path of light and the final path of light. And this angle is known as delta, or angle of deviation. Do you understand it? Angle of deviation. Great. So that is what is happening over here. Now see, how many angles do we have here? We have I1, R1, R2, I2 or E. Then there is angle A. Angle A क्या था? Angle of prism. कहाँ पे ये angle? This one. Right? And finally there is angle delta, which is angle of deviation. So prism के through हम लोग refraction क्यों समझ रहे हैं? Because we are trying to find out the relationship between all these angles. ठीक है, क्योंकि प्रिज्म कोई भी शेप का हो सकता है, और उसका अगर शेप चेंज करेंगे तो एंगल ए, दैट इज एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म, चेंज हो जाएगा, जिसकी वजह से I1, R1, R2, I2 ये सब इफेक्ट होंगे, एंड फाइनली जो इफेक्ट होगी वो किस पे होगी? एंगल ऑफ डिविएशन, right? And that is, angle of deviation is the angle which is basically deciding that in which direction is the light ray emerging out. लाइट रे जब निकल रही है तो कौन सी डायरेक्शन में जा रही है, कहां पे उसको डेविएट करना है, कैसे डेविएट करना है, उसका यूजेस क्या हो सकते हैं. So basically we have to find the relationship of all these angles with angle of deviation. ठीक है, तो चलो करते हैं. अब एक चीज यहाँ पे ये लोगों ने हाईलाइट की है जो मैं भी तुम्हें बताना चाहूंगा कि इन ईच रिफ्रैक्शन द रे ऑफ लाइट बेंड्स टूवर्ड्स द बेस ऑफ प्रिज्म. अगर तुम यहाँ पे ध्यान से देखोगे तो इंसिडेंट रे ऑफ लाइट ऐसे जब आई, इट बेंड टूवर्ड्स द नॉर्मल, दैट इज टूवर्ड्स द बेस ऑफ द प्रिज्म. अच्छा, जब यहां से इंसिडेंट रिफ्रैक्टेड रे बाहर निकली इमर्जेंट रे बन के, अगेन इट बेंड टूवर्ड्स द बेस ऑफ प्रिज्म. सो प्रिज्म में जब भी रिफ्रैक्शन होता है तो जो रिफ्रैक्टेड रे या इमर्जेंट रे का जो टेंडेंसी होता है, जो इंटेंशन होता है, दैट इज टू बेस टूवर्ड्स द टू बेंड टूवर्ड्स द बेस, to bend towards the base. That is what we can understand over here. Now let us understand some geometry related to prism, and let us try to find out the relation between angle of deviation and various angles of prism. Right? ये थोड़ा सा डेरिवेशन कॉम्प्लिकेटेड हो सकता है, बट ये बेसिक ज्योमेट्री पे बेस्ड है, तो इतना कॉम्प्लिकेटेड है भी नहीं. अच्छा, डेरिवेशन तुम्हें एग्जाम में पूछते नहीं है, लेकिन डेरिवेशन के ऊपर बेस्ड जो फॉर्मूला है वो फॉर्मूला के ऊपर न्यूमेरिकल्स पूछ सकते हैं. सो मुझे चाहिए कि तुम्हारा डेरिवेशन भी क्लियर हो. You should be very much clear with your derivation. You should be able to derive whether or not it is not necessary, whether or not they ask in the exam, in the board exam or not. But if they ask any question, घुमा फिरा के, regarding this whole process which is happening, you should be able to answer. तुम्हारा कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर होना चाहिए, इसलिए बोल रहा हूं कि लेट्स अंडरस्टैंड दिस. ठीक है, चलो सबसे पहले कैन यू सी एंगल एल एम क्यू? ये रहा एंगल एल एम क्यू डेल्टा. It is equal to angle MPQ plus angle MQP. It is equal to angle MPQ plus angle MQP. Delta 1 plus delta 2. Why? Why? Why angle delta is equal to angle delta 1 plus delta 2? क्यों है ये इक्वल? क्योंकि delta is exterior angle of triangle MPQ and delta 1 and delta 2 are two opposite interior angles. Exterior angle of property तो पता ही है ना सबको. The exterior angle of triangle is always equal to the sum of two opposite interior angles. यहाँ पे कोई तकलीफ है? बिल्कुल नहीं. चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. Since angle MPN ये वाला है. अच्छा, MPN अगर तुम पूरा देखोगे तो MPN is equal to this angle I1. MPN I1 है. क्यों? क्योंकि वर्टिकली ऑपोजिट है, तो MPN और I1 तो इक्वल होने चाहिए. सही है, इक्वल है. और MQN क्या है? I2, वर्टिकली ऑपोजिट अगेन. अच्छा, MPN I1 है और MQN I2 है. MPQ क्या होगा? MPQ देखो, MPQ तो डेल्टा 1 है, लेकिन क्या मैं उसको लिख सकता हूं I1 जो पूरा एंगल है? ध्यान से देखना, यहां पे कंफ्यूजन हो सकता है. द होल थिंग इज हाउ मच? I1. मुझे डेल्टा 1 की वैल्यू चाहिए, तो मैं I1 माइनस R1 लिख सकता हूं कि नहीं? डेफिनेटली लिख सकता हूं. अच्छा, डेल्टा 2 की वैल्यू चाहिए मुझे, तो क्या मैं I2 माइनस R2 लिख सकता हूं? यस, एब्सोल्युटली. तो डेल्टा में डेल्टा 1 प्लस डेल्टा 2 की वैल्यू डालते हैं. ठीक है, डेल्टा इज इक्वल टू डेल्टा 1 प्लस डेल्टा 2 ना, तो डेल्टा इज इक्वल टू I1 माइनस R1 प्लस I2 माइनस R2, ऐसे लिख सकते हैं. अच्छा, इसको थोड़ा सा रीअरेंज करके I1 प्लस I2 माइनस, ये दोनों माइनस है तो माइनस कॉमन निकाल के माइनस R1 प्लस R2, ऐसे भी लिख सकते हैं. तो ये एक प्रिलिमिनरी फॉर्मूला रेडी हो गया तुम्हारा डेल्टा I1 I2 R1 R2 के टर्म्स. मतलब अगर तुम्हें एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस पता है, एंगल ऑफ रिफ्रैक्शन एट द फर्स्ट सरफेस एंड द सेकंड सरफेस पता है, और एंगल ऑफ इमर्जेंस I2 पता है, तो तुम डेल्टा निकाल सकते हो, एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन. ठीक है, चलो अब आगे बढ़ते हैं. ये फॉर्मूला पे रुकना नहीं है, आगे बढ़ते हैं. क्वाड्रिलैटरल APQN देखो, APQN होना चाहिए. हाँ, APNQ ही तो है. पी एन क्यू दिख रहा है क्वाड्रिलैटरल। चलो ये सब हटाता हूं क्वाड्रिलैटरल पे फोकस करने के लिए, ठीक है, सब हट जाओ। Now I am going to highlight this quadrilateral with green ink, ठीक है, A P N Q. Can you see this green quadrilateral A P N Q? ध्यान से देखना, in this quadrilateral angle APN, एंगल APN दिख रहा है, ये 90 है। क्यों? क्योंकि this angle APN is the angle formed between the surface of prism and the normal, and angle AQN ये भी कितना है, 90 है। APN और AQN 90 हो गए, समझ में आया क्यों? ठीक। तो एंगल PNQ प्लस PNQ कौन सा है, ये वाला एंगल, और PAQ कौन सा है, ये वाला एंगल, वो कितना होगा, उनका सम 180 होगा। क्यों? क्योंकि क्वाड्रिलैटरल के चारों एंगल का सम कितना होता है, 360, आउट ऑफ विच द सम ऑफ दीज टू एंगल PNQ इज 180. So the sum of remaining two angles has to be 360 minus 180, which is 360 minus 180 is 180. अच्छा, एंगल PAQ होता है एंगल A, एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म। सो एंगल PNQ कितना होगा, PNQ will be 180 minus angle A. So what is angle PNQ? They have written in triangle PNQ, if you see this small triangle, let me erase again all over. Now focus on triangle PNQ. See, we have understood that angle PNQ is equal to 180 minus angle of prism, angle A. ठीक है, अब देखो ट्राइंगल PNQ को फोकस करो। ट्राइंगल PNQ दिख रहा है तुम्हें? ट्राइंगल PNQ में हमें एक एंगल पता है PNQ, दूसरे दो एंगल क्या है, R1 और R2। तो एंगल PNQ, ठीक है, विच इज 180 माइनस एंगल A, एंड एंगल PNQ विच इज ऑल्सो 180 माइनस एंगल R1 प्लस R2, क्योंकि तीनों एंगल का सम 180 है ना, तो एंगल PNQ प्लस R1 प्लस R2 is 180. So angle PNQ is 180 minus R1 plus R2, and angle PNQ is also 180 minus A. मतलब 180 minus R1 plus R2 is equal to 180 minus A. 180 cut. So angle A, angle of prism is equal to R1 plus R2. तो ये वाला जो फॉर्मूला था जो हमने ऑलरेडी डिराइव किया, इसमें R1 और R2 की वैल्यू हम डाल सकते हैं। In the place of R1 and R2, if I put delta, because that is what, sorry, if I put angle A, then delta is equal to I1 plus I2 minus angle A, or delta plus A is equal to I1 plus I2. Delta plus A is equal to I1 plus I2. So in prism, the refraction of light occurs at two inclined faces. So the emergent ray is not parallel to the incident ray, but it is deviated to the base of prism. On the other hand, in parallel-sided glass slab, the refraction of light occurs at two parallel faces. So the emergent ray is parallel to the incident ray with lateral shift. सबसे बड़ा difference. They can ask you in exam, explain the difference between the refraction which is taking place in a prism and a parallel-sided glass slab. So you can say कि prism में जो refraction होता है, ये दोनों इंक्लाइंड सरफेसेस पे होता है, पैरेलल सरफेसेस पे नहीं। तो जो इमर्जेंट रे है वो पैरेलल नहीं होती इंसिडेंट रे से, बट वो डेविएटेड होती है टुवर्ड्स द बेस ऑफ प्रिज्म। इंसिडेंट रे और इमर्जेंट रे के बीच में एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन बनता है, बट ग्लास स्लैब में, पैरेलल साइडेड ग्लास स्लैब में रिफ्रैक्शन ऑफ लाइट पैरेलल फेसेस पे अकर करता है। तो इमर्जेंट रे और इंसिडेंट रे एक दूसरे से पैरेलल होती है और वहां पे लैटरल शिफ्ट होता है। सबसे बड़ा डिफरेंस है प्रिज्म में इंसिडेंट रे और इमर्जेंट रे के बीच में एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन बनता है, दोनों पैरेलल नहीं होती है। और पैरेलल साइडेड ग्लास स्लैब में, जो मैं तुम्हें अभी दिखा रहा हूं, जो हमने देखा है, यस, पैरेलल साइडेड ग्लास स्लैब में, बिकॉज द इंसिडेंट रे एंड इमर्जेंट रे, they both are parallel to each other since the surfaces from which they are refracted are parallel to each other, PQ and XR. इसलिए यहाँ पे लैटरल शिफ्ट होता है, वहां पे एंगल ऑफ डिविएशन बनता है। रिफ्रैक्शन दोनों में हो रहा है, 2 बार हो रहा है दोनों में, लेकिन यहाँ पे क्योंकि पैरेलल साइडेड ग्लास स्लैब के जो दोनों फेसेस है जहां पे रिफ्रैक्शन हो रहा है वो एक दूसरे से पैरेलल है, ठीक है। इफ यू सी दिस फेस इज पैरेलल विद दिस फेस, एंड इसलिए यहाँ पे जो इंसिडेंट रे और इमर्जेंट रे वो पैरेलल रही है, उनमें सिर्फ लैटरल शिफ्ट आया है। लेकिन तुम्हारे प्रिज्म में ऐसा नहीं हो रहा। प्रिज्म में क्या हो रहा है? प्रिज्म में ये दोनों दोनों जो फेसेस है ए बी और ए सी जहां पे रिफ्रैक्शन हो रहा है, दे आर नॉट पैरेलल टू ईच अदर, दे आर इंक्लाइंड टू ईच अदर में एट एन एंगल ए, एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म। इसलिए इंसिडेंट रे और इमर्जेंट रे क्या होती है? डेविएटेड होती है, एक दूसरे से एंगल बनाती है, एंगल ऑफ डिविएशन। क्लियर? अब प्रिज्म का तुम्हें बहुत आइडिया आ गया है, फाइनल फॉर्मूला भी मिल गया है तुम्हें, दैट सम ऑफ द एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस sum of the angle of incidence and angle of emergence is equal to angle of prism plus angle of deviation। बहुत अच्छा फॉर्मूला है, कहीं भी यूज हो सकता है, इसका डेरिवेशन भी ज्योमेट्रिकली तुमने सीख लिया, ठीक है। अभी इसको एक बार लिख के तुम लर्न भी कर सकते हो फॉर गेटिंग मोर कमांड ऑन दिस टॉपिक। अब डिपेंड करता है तुम्हारे आगे के यू नो व्हाट आर योर ओके। नाउ let's come to the point. Not much is remaining from this part, but yeah, still there is a lot to discuss, lot to discuss, let me tell you. Let's come to the point. Now the whole point of studying prism and the refraction through prism is to find out how much a prism can make a ray of light deviate, right? Because there won't be a lateral shift for sure, there will be a deviation. So how much deviation will be there in different situations? That's the whole point of studying prism and the refraction through it. So to study that, to understand the level or the amount of deviation, angle of deviation, we have to understand the factors affecting the angle of deviation. The angle of deviation delta, that is the deviation produced by a prism, depends on the following 4 factors. Number 1, angle of incidence, and सबसे crucial factor यही है, the most crucial factor which affects the angle of deviation and in a very complex manner is the angle of incidence। कौन से एंगल पे तुमने रे ऑफ लाइट को इंसिडेंट करवाया है, ये वाली रे ऑफ लाइट, ये कौन से एंगल पे इंसिडेंट हो रही, ठीक है, उस पे डिपेंड करता है एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन क्या होगा। द सेकेंड फैक्टर इज द मटीरियल ऑफ प्रिज्म। मटीरियल ऑफ प्रिज्म मतलब ऑफ कोर्स प्रिज्म तो ग्लास का ही होगा, लेकिन तुम्हें पता है ग्लास के भी अलग अलग टाइप्स होते हैं, ठीक है। एक होता है क्राउन ग्लास, एक होता है फ्लिंट ग्लास, ठीक है, फिर एक ऑप्टिकल ग्लास होता है जो इट इज मेड अप ऑफ डिफरेंट मटेरियल्स, और इन सब का रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स अलग अलग होता है। इफ यू सी इन द फर्स्ट पार्ट ऑफ द चैप्टर, अगर तुमने थोड़ा सा टेक्स्ट बुक को रेफर किया है तो तुम्हें समझ में आएगा कि देखो, एक तो था यहाँ पे जो दिखाया था वो था ऑर्डिनरी ग्लास जिसका रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स था 1.5, फिर क्राउन ग्लास 1.53, फ्लिंट ग्लास 1.65, ठीक है। ये सारे ग्लासेस हैं और उनका अलग अलग रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स है। मतलब प्रिज्म इनमें से किसी भी ग्लास के मटेरियल से बन सकता है, और उस ग्लास का मटेरियल डिसाइड करेगा कि उसका एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन कितना होगा, ठीक है। अच्छा, प्रिज्म डायमंड से बन सकता है क्या? हाँ, बन सकता है ना, क्यों नहीं। अगर किसी डायमंड को उस शेप में तुमने घिस के वो प्रिज्मेटिक शेप अगर देने में तुम एबल रहे तो डेफिनेटली प्रिज्म डायमंड शेप में भी हो सकता है, डायमंड भी प्रिज्म शेप में हो सकता है। मतलब ये जो प्रिज्म है वो डायमंड का भी बन सकता है, क्यों नहीं बन सकता। तो उस केस में अगेन फिर उसका एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन उसके रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स के हिसाब से चेंज हो जाएगा, राइट। सो एज आई टोल्ड यू कि प्रिज्म अलग अलग मटेरियल से बनता है और प्रिज्म के मटेरियल पे उसके एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन डिपेंड करता है, ये भी याद रखना। थर्ड इज द एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म. अब एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म का मतलब क्या है? सपोज प्रिज्म एक पर्टिकुलर मटेरियल का बना है, लेकिन उसका जो एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म है वो तो प्रिज्म के शेप पे डिपेंड करता है. उसके उसके क्रॉस सेक्शनल एरिया या जो उसका प्रिंसिपल सेक्शन है उसके शेप पे डिपेंड करता है. तो प्रिंसिपल सेक्शन का जो शेप है, जो ट्रायंगल का शेप है, ये ट्रायंगल का शेप कुछ भी हो सकता है यार. ट्रायंगल तो बहुत सारे टाइप के होते हैं. A triangle can be equilateral, a triangle can be isosceles, a right isosceles, scale, and it can be anything. So जिस हिसाब से ट्राइंगल होगा, उसका शेप होगा, उस हिसाब से एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन चेंज होगा. बिकॉज एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म अलग होगा सबके लिए. इक्विलेटरल ट्राइंगल में एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म 60 डिग्री होगा, ठीक है. वैसे ही दूसरे अलग अलग ट्राइंगल्स के लिए एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म चेंज होगा और एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन उस पर डिपेंड करता है. And the last thing on which the angle of deviation depends is the color or wavelength lambda of light used. जितनी वेवलेंथ ज्यादा, जितनी, याद रखो, जितनी वेवलेंथ ज्यादा है, वेवलेंथ जितनी ज्यादा, उतना एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन छोटा, मतलब डेविएशन कम होगा. और जितनी वेवलेंथ कम, उतना एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन ज्यादा, मतलब डेविएशन ज्यादा हो. ठीक है. इसके ऊपर मैं डिटेल में तुम्हें बताऊंगा, मे बी फिगर्स के साथ बताऊंगा तुम्हें. कंपैरिजन करेंगे हम लोग अलग अलग लाइट के एंगल ऑफ डेविएशंस के लिए फॉर अ सर्टेन प्रिज्म ऑफ अ सर्टेन मटेरियल, certain angle of prism and certain angle of incidence. How lambda can affect the angle of deviation we will discuss. But सबसे पहले जो हमें पहले प्राइमरी डिस्कशन करना है, दैट इज डिपेंडेंस ऑफ एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन. जो मैंने तुम्हें पहले ही बताया कि एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस पे कैसे एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन डिपेंड करता है, ये तुम्हें पढ़ना है आई डेल्टा ग्राफ से. देखो, एक्सपेरिमेंटली हम एक चीज ऑब्जर्व कर सकते हैं कि as the angle of incidence increases, the angle of deviation first decreases, reaches a minimum value for a certain angle of incidence, and then on further increasing the angle of incidence, the angle of deviation begins to increase. है ना कॉम्प्लेक्स? ये पूरी स्टोरी बताता है. ये जो पैराग्राफ है ना, it tells you the whole story of what is the relationship between angle of incidence and angle of deviation. ठीक है. एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस को मैं इंक्रीज करता जाऊंगा तो पहले एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन डिक्रीज होगा, एक मिनिमम वैल्यू रीच करेगा फॉर सर्टेन एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस, एंड देन फर्दर अगर एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस को मैं इंक्रीज करता गया तो एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन भी इंक्रीज होगा. लेट्स स्टडी दिस ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ अ ग्राफ. नाउ टू गेट द ग्राफ which shows the relationship or variation of angle of deviation with angle of incidence, experimentally the direction of incident ray is kept unchanged and the prism is rotated. हमको वो जो रे ऑफ लाइट है, इंसिडेंट रे, उसको नहीं हिलाना है, उसको उधर ही रखना है, प्रिज्म को रोटेट करना है. On the rotation of prism, the direction of normal at the face of prism changes. So the angle which the incident ray makes with the normal also changes. Now, before we go to the graph, let me show you a video which shows the experiment of finding the relationship of angle of incidence with delta, that is angle of deviation. Let me show that to you. Okay, let's see this video and try to understand. मैं बीच में I will give my commentary as well. So let's see and try to understand what is happening. How do they find angle of minimum deviation? Please don't mind this professor. He is little slow, but let him speak for a while and see that what he's saying. Let's see.
And the place opposite to the angle of the prism is known as
Okay, so we know that.
To determine refractive index of a material of a prism by ID curve method. The apparatus used in this experiment are
No, actually, I think this is too long and very boring. I think let me just go to some other video and tell you. Okay, I think let's try this one.
सुन वेस्ट इंडीज में T20s ऑन क्रिकेट ऑन तो ड्रीम 11 ऑन मेक योर टीम नाउ
Hello friends, welcome to our channel Learn and Have Fun. In this video, we will learn about refraction of light through a glass prism and angle of deviation. In our activities, we will be using two types of prism, a normal lab prism and a photographic prism. We also need a laser torch. Switch on a laser torch, you will see the path of a laser beam. This beam travels in a straight line. When a prism comes in a path of the laser beam, the beam deviates from its initial direction. Now we repeat the same activity with a high quality prism. Such a prism is used by photographers. This prism produces sharp and crystal clear image of an object. The laser beam also deviates from its initial direction while passing through this prism. One more thing, in this photographic prism you can also see reflected and internal reflected beam. We will make a separate YouTube video on this topic. Subscribe our channel and press the bell icon to get notifications. Let's observe the behavior of laser beam from the top view. In this view, you can clearly see laser light enter the air to glass medium. As glass is optically denser than air, the light bends towards the normal. When the reflected light reaches the opposite side of the prism, it comes out from the glass medium and again enter the air medium. Since air is a rarer medium, now the light bends away from the normal. Due to bending of the light at both the surfaces, the light finally deviates from its initial direction. Watch this animation to see what the angle of deviation is. We extend the incident ray with the dotted lines. Also, extend the emergent ray backward with dotted lines. The two extended lines meet at a point. The angle between these two lines, that is direction of incident beam and direction of emergent beam, is known as angle of deviation.
Hi, I'm Brad Callen, and in this video, I'm going to show you how anyone can quickly and easily create doodle videos. Just
Take a white sheet, place
Okay, I think we know this.
as shown. The angle opposite side of the prism.
So anyways, now we have visualized how the deviation takes place. Now let's not because I'm not able to find any proper video which is showing this experiment how to plot the different angle of incidence and the angle of deviations which are you know related with them. So let's directly look at the graph and try to understand that what is happening over here. Okay, so what we are doing is we are noting delta, that is angle of deviation, for each angle of incidence I, and then we are plotting a graph that is delta versus I. Figure 4.24 shows the variation in angle of deviation delta with the angle of incidence I. It is called I delta curve, in which maximum value of angle of deviation is marked, sorry, in which the minimum value of angle of deviation is marked as delta minimum. Okay, now see, let me show you what is happening with the help of this graph. Let's say that see, this is your graph's curve. This is how the curve goes like. So what are these points? Suppose we are talking about, let's say, this point. What is this point? So with respect to this point, there are two coordinates. There are two coordinates. One is the x coordinate and one is the y coordinate. What is the x coordinate? The x coordinate is the angle of incidence, and the y coordinate is the angle of deviation. So what you have to do is you have to note both of them. You have to note both of them and mark them on this Cartesian plane and get this coordinate. And then what you need to do is you need to increase the angle of incidence in your experiment by rotating the prism as they told about. Okay, by rotating the prism you need to increase the angle of incidence, and you will notice as you go on increasing the angle of incidence like this, what will happen is the angle of deviation which you get will go on decreasing. The angle of deviation will go on decreasing till it reaches a minimum value, for a certain angle of incidence. For a certain angle of incidence, the angle of deviation reaches a minimum value, which is known as delta minimum. Okay, so this you can say is the minimum angle of deviation for any angle of incidence. Okay, we have different sets of angle of incidences over here, starting from this angle up to going to this angle. Okay, angle of incidence is continuously increasing in this direction. But what about the angle of deviation? It first decreases, reaches a minimum value for certain angle of incidence, right? And then again on increasing angle of incidence, the angle of deviation increases, right? So that is the trend of delta. Delta, that is angle of deviation, first decreases, then becomes or attains minimum or attains a minimum value, and then delta increases. Delta is angle of deviation, and all these things they happen on what? On increasing I, on increasing I, on increasing the angle of incidence. On increasing angle of incidence, first angle of deviation decreases, reaches a minimum value, and then increases. Okay, so that is visible from this graph. It should be now very clear that how angle of deviation is changing with respect to the increase in angle of incidence. Okay, so very important relationship I'm going to tell you now. It is found that the angle of deviation becomes minimum, delta min, when the angle of incidence is equal to the angle of emergence. Amazing correlationship they are telling you. Okay, so you have to understand a couple of things over here. At delta minimum, means when the angle of deviation becomes minimum, what will happen? Number one, I1 becomes equal to I2. That is, angle of incidence becomes equal to angle of emergence. Right? Angle of incidence becomes equal to angle of emergence. That is the first thing which happens. I1 becomes equal to I2. Second thing also you note when you reach delta minimum is R1 becomes equal to R2. R1 and R2, I1 and I2, you remember If you don't remember, look at this figure. I1 becomes equal to I2, R1 becomes equal to R2, and that time this angle of deviation is the minimum value. It attains the minimum value. Okay, what else? What else we can see? And the third thing you will notice, at angle of minimum deviation, that the refracted ray within the prism, becomes parallel to the base, refracted ray within the prism becomes parallel to the base at this point. Okay, so let me show you a diagram which I have of, maybe I don't know if I have or not. Okay, so this is the graph between I and D, that is angle of incidence and angle of deviation, and we see that at this point, that is one angle of incidence, the angle of deviation attains a minimum value. dm लिखा है वो लोग ने अपने टेक्स्ट बुक में डेल्टा m, ठीक है, डेल्टा min, ठीक है, and at this angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence, और क्या, R1 is equal to R2, और क्या, PQ is parallel to BC. Now if you don't understand what is PQ and what is BC, I will show you. PQ is the refracted ray. PQ is the refracted ray within the prism and becomes parallel to BC, that is becomes parallel to the base of the prism. Okay, so these three things when happen, please understand that you have attained the angle of minimum deviation. You are at the angle of minimum deviation. Okay. One more important fact, the position of prism with respect to the incident ray at which the incident ray suffers minimum deviation is called the position of minimum deviation. Right? The position of prism with respect to the incident ray at which the incident ray suffers minimum deviation is called the position of minimum deviation. In this position of minimum deviation, the refracted ray inside the prism is parallel to the base, जो मैंने तुम्हें अभी बताया. If the prism is equilateral or principal section of prism forms isosceles triangle, ठीक है, अगर वो प्रिंसिपल सेक्शन उसका आइसोसेलेस है या फिर इक्विलैटरल है तो ही ये होगा. ठीक है, इन दिस position of minimum deviation, the refracted ray inside the prism becomes parallel to the base, but only in the case when the prism has its principal section in the shape of equilateral or isosceles triangle. So in this position of minimum deviation, when delta is equal to delta minimum, I1 is equal to I2 is equal to I. Correct? So from that equation which we have derived over here, I1 plus I2 is equal to A plus delta. I1 और I2 तो दोनों equal हो गए, I. So I1 plus I2 will be 2I. ठीक है, so delta minimum will be 2I minus A. This is one more important formula which we have understood from the relationship of angle of minimum deviation with the angle of incidence. तो अगर ये रिलेशनशिप स्टडी नहीं करते तो हमें कभी ये फॉर्मूला नहीं मिलता, बट ये याद रखना फॉर्मूला. For given prism and given color of light, delta minimum is unique since only one horizontal line can be drawn parallel to I axis at the lowest point of I delta curve. That is, only for one value of angle of incidence, the refracted ray inside the prism is parallel to its base. मतलब ये जो point है ना angle of minimum deviation का, that is delta min, वो सिर्फ तुम्हें एक single एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस पे ही मिल सकता है. ये बार बार नहीं आता एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस at which the angle of deviation becomes minimum. This occurs only at a unique angle of incidence. That is what they mean. अब यहाँ पे एक फिगर दिखाया है जिसमें they are explaining the deviation at different angles of incidence. देखो, पहले एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस कितना था, यहाँ पे अगर देखो ध्यान से, कितना दिख रहा है एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस? 70 डिग्री। एक्चुअली मुझे मिनिमम से शुरू करना चाहिए, चलो यहाँ से शुरू करते हैं। यहाँ सी वाला पहले देखते हैं। एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस कितना है? 30 डिग्री। एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन कितना है? 47। ठीक है, फिर थोड़ा बढ़ाया मैंने, एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस कितना हो गया? 48 डिग्री। तो एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन क्या हो गया? 36 डिग्री। फिर मैंने और थोड़ा बढ़ाया, एंगल ऑफ इंसिडेंस 70 डिग्री किया, तो एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन कितना हो गया? 43 डिग्री। अब इन तीनों एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन में 47, 36 और 43, सबसे छोटा एंगल कौन सा है? 36। एंड इफ यू लुक एट दिस फिगर at which the angle of incidence is 48 and angle of deviation is 36, you will look closely and you will find that angle of incidence is equal to angle of emergence. Also, PQ is parallel to the base. Also, R1 is equal to R2. मतलब this is the standard diagram, standard form, standard position. The position यहाँ पे बोला था ना, the position of minimum deviation, ये वाला B वाला है position of minimum deviation. ठीक है, समझ में आया? चलो, अच्छा, यहां पे बी वाली पोजीशन में हम लोग ये डेल्टा मिन का फॉर्मूला भी अप्लाई कर सकते हैं। एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म हम लोग ढूंढ सकते हैं एक्चुअली उससे। तो एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म क्या है? डेल्टा मिन माइनस, सॉरी 2i माइनस डेल्टा मिन। 2i क्या है? 48 इंटू 48, 96। 96 माइनस 36, 96 माइनस 36 कितना होता है? 60। तो यहाँ पे ये जो प्रिज्म दिख रहा है ना तुम्हें, उसका एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म है 60, मतलब ये इक्विलैटरल प्रिज्म। ठीक है, चलो, नेक्स्ट फैक्टर ऑन विच द एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन of the material, angle of deviation depends, that is the material of prism or refractive index of the prism. It is found that, please remember this, it is found that a given angle of incidence of the prism with higher refractive index produces a greater deviation than the prism which has lower refractive index. इसका मतलब है कि रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स जितना ज्यादा मटेरियल ऑफ प्रिज्म का, उतना एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन ज्यादा। मतलब फ्लिंट ग्लास के लिए एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन ज्यादा होगा क्राउन ग्लास से, क्योंकि फ्लिंट ग्लास का रिफ्रैक्टिव इंडेक्स ज्यादा है क्राउन ग्लास से। थर्ड इज आई एम सॉरी, डिपेंडेंस ऑफ एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन ऑन एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म। इसका मतलब है कि इट इज फाउंड दैट एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन इंक्रीजेस विद द एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म। एंगल ऑफ प्रिज्म जितना ज्यादा, मतलब ये वाला एंगल जितना ज्यादा, उतना एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन भी ज्यादा है। And the third thing is dependence of angle of deviation on color or wavelength of light. Let me show you with pictures. Do you see this? What is happening? White light is made up of its 7 constituent colors. So there are 7 colors of which white light is made up of. And all these 7 colors have different wavelengths. They have the same frequency because the frequency depends on the source of light, but their wavelengths are different. The largest or the longest wavelength is for red, and then wavelength slowly decreases for orange, for yellow, for green, for blue, for indigo, and for violet the wavelength is minimum. So what is happening? Each of the light which you see, each of the light, ray of light or the color of light which you see has got different wavelength and different deviation. They all deviate by different amount. Now let me ask you, which one deviates the most? Violet light. And violet light has minimum wavelength. So if the wavelength of a specific color of light is less, then the deviation will be more. Red light has maximum deviation. So if the wavelength of a light is more, then the deviation will be less. So wavelength and the deviation are, you can say, inversely proportional to each other. Look at this diagram. Here we can clearly see that deviation increases with, as you go down, that means increases with decrease in wavelength. Red की wavelength सबसे ज्यादा है, deviation उसका सबसे कम है, angle of deviation भी दिख रहा है। और violet के लिए angle of deviation सबसे ज्यादा है, because ये angle of deviation जो violet का मैं बता रहा हूँ, that starts from this direction, that is the direction of incident ray of light, and it goes up to here. पूरा इतना एंगल हमें कवर करना पड़ेगा टू फाइंड द एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन ऑफ वायलेट लाइट, बट जबकि रेड का एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन सिर्फ इतना है, ठीक है। सो एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन increases with decrease in wavelength of light. वायलेट के लिए एंगल ऑफ डेविएशन मैक्सिमम और रेड के लिए मिनिमम, क्योंकि फॉर एनी prism or any transparent medium, the refractive index of that transparent medium is maximum for violet light and minimum for red light, ठीक है। So dependence of angle of deviation on the color or wavelength of light is understood over here. Now there are different solved examples which I want you to go through as your you can say homework. For the first thing, you have to go through all the solved example and then start with exercise 4b. Don't start with exercise 4b directly, just go through these solved examples and then start with exercise 4b. So we are done with this part, and there are numericals which are based on this simple formula which I am not paying attention to this as of now. I want your concept to be clear so that you can apply the numericals and the simple formulae which we have derived in any case. Okay, so our part B is completed. Now next I have to cover part C, which is also not very big, it is small, but still I would want to cover it in detail. So I'm going to make one video each day, since now we have got some time, and I want you to go through each and every video in so much of depth and detail and with a lot of attention that you don't miss out on a single concept. Because if you miss out on any concept, then it will be very difficult for you to get the concept which are coming in the next part. Okay, so please watch this video with lot of attention, try to understand each and everything, and then start the exercise 4b. Okay, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.